women's golf. Let's start with this because I'm going to introduce our next guest who's ready for us now. San Diego State Classic. They took 5th place. Maria Jose Barrigan. I don't know if it's Jose or Josie. We're going to ask her. Just a sophomore, though. Finished 4th. And I think she goes by MJ. When I met her, I think everybody was calling her MJ. So we'll call her MJ. And Carrie can tell us if that's right. They finished in 4th place overall in the tournament. Next week, they're at the Causeway Invitational, Monday through Tuesday in Sacramento, California. Our next guest tonight is the head coach on the women's golf team, a post she's held since 2010. The 3-time WCC Coach of the Year, has BYU in their 2nd season in the Big 12. It's a pleasure to welcome back to the Wise Guys, Carrie Roberts. Carrie, welcome in. We're glad to have you back. I wish you were here in studio with us.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
No, it's always a pleasure, and I know golf is a little bit interesting because you start playing tournaments in the fall, and now you're kind of in this late winter, spring season where you're playing tournaments. Everything's away because it's cold this time of year here. You're now in your 2nd season in the Big 12. How did your team grow last year in their inaugural Big 12 season, and how will that growth lead to more success this season as you're playing tournaments and getting ready for that Big 12 tournament and then the NCAAs?
Yeah, we've made a huge jump. I mean, we were super young, a couple freshmen, sophomores in the lineup last year. And, so that gives us another year, of just experience. And you see Maria, it is Maria Jose, MJ.
I wasn't wrong. When you guys introduced me to her over at the club, it was MJ, right?
MJ, Maho, Maria Jose, whatever you want.
Yeah, I like MJ's this easy, so we're going to go with MJ for her.
Yeah, MJ. She's top 50 in the country. So, I mean, she's jumped, 300 spots in the rankings in one season. So, and that's what everyone's doing. Yeah. And so, it's interesting, and last week we had, one of our seniors have the low round of the tournament with a really good field. So we've grown a lot, and it'll take, hopefully we just keep, I don't know what it'll take, but Big 12 is unbelievable in golf, and we're thrilled to be in it. And, just like we did in the WCC, hopefully we can find a way to compete and win.
I look at these tournaments. It's so different than basketball. You play a little preseason schedule, and then it's like all league play, right? Yeah. But I'm looking at the teams that were just in this SDSU Classic that you played in. San Diego State, New Mexico, Western Michigan, Wisconsin, Madison, UNLV, Stanford, Georgia, Fresno State, Denver, Oregon State, and Colorado. Colorado's the only other Big 12 team in this tournament. And I didn't even count up how many different conferences that represents, but so it's a little different. You play in these tournaments where there's teams from multiple conferences, and then you finally go in and you're ready to go, and you play in that Big 12 tournament, which is at Southern Hills this year. Yikes. I love that course.
That's actually a misprint. We're back at Houston Oaks.
Oh, I thought you were in Southern Hills. I'm like, please, Carrie, will you take me to play at Southern Hills? I want to go play a practice round with you.
I know, right? Anytime. Let's go.
Okay, so it's not there. Okay. Dang, because I was like going to beg you to take me as your caddy. One of the great courses in the world, by the way. In the schedule, it says they're playing at Southern Hills. I'm like, what? So it's back in Houston. It's back in Houston. But how different? Does a league really make a lot of difference when you're playing tournaments with all kind of a mixture of leagues, and you really don't get into league play until that tournament? Is it way different than football and basketball? Does it have a different feel to it?
It does a little bit. That's why we tried to mix it up. That's why we tried to go to Florida and California, just so you're used to seeing different teams. You're used to seeing better teams. And it does feel different, though, when you go to the conference. They do a really good job, the Big 12. They make you feel very important. They make it feel, big, and they make it feel like a championship. And so it's fun. It's weird, right? Like it's literally just one tournament.
Yeah.
Whoever's hot that week is the champion. It's kind of weird. It would be kind of fun, honestly, if they did some head-to-head match play events, but that's just not how it is. But so you kind of go over, you go all around the country, play whoever you want, and try to build a schedule that gives you the best, ranking possible and gives you the best experience to be ready for that championship.
Coach, does that kind of help you with recruiting? Because the first thing, now I'm not a golfer. I just want to say that.
Believe me, I will attest to that, Carrie. Not.
But Coach, I can putt really good. I'll be anybody, anytime. On any type of mini course, mini golf. That's me. But as I'm hearing, the tournaments in different places that you guys are traveling, do you think that helps out with recruiting? Because the first thing on my mind, I would think, coming to a cold state, right? And playing an outside, sport. You think how you have it lined up gives you a little bit of an edge with recruiting?
Yeah, I try to do a schedule where people want to play, right? Like they like where we go. They like the places we go. They like the teams that we play. And hopefully that is a recruiting advantage for us that, they like where we go, right? We get to Florida, we go to Hawaii a couple times a year. And I don't know how many teams can say that, right?
Yeah.
Like, so yeah, that's what we try to build a schedule that people like, those are the teams I want to play. It's competitive, yet there's teams we can, there's tournaments we can win. And hopefully that's helps in recruiting. And also I need that hoodie. So
like people have been commenting on this hoodie on the chat all night long. And like he's got some Chinese proverb on the side. He says it says "Go beat Utah," but I don't think that's what it says.
It says "Beat Utah." Right?
We can say that.
We can say it says that unless somebody on the chat knows Chinese because
I've got some Koreans, so
it's not Korean, right? It's not Korean.
I think it is Korean, actually.
Is it really?
Is it Korean?
I think so.
Okay, we'll have to take a screenshot.
Okay, we'll take a screenshot and send it to Carrie. So, I want to follow up on Brian's question. How hard is it, first of all, to recruit? And I know you're talking about, hey, we're going to all these places, but when during the wintertime, and we haven't had a lot of snow the last couple of years, but there's a lot of days when there's snow and they got to go into the student athlete building or into the indoor practice facility and hit into nets and. Is that a difficult thing? And how hard is it to stay sharp when the southern schools are out playing on the course and hitting on the range all year long? Is it a disadvantage in recruiting, and is it harder to compete when you're up north?
Well, sure. I mean, it's a winter religious school, so it's but that's not everything. The weather's not everything, right? We have culture. We have a good team culture. We get along. We care about each other. We're very strong that way. And what we do matters, right? It's not just the weather. I mean, and it's interesting. I mean, you saw the men's team just won their first tournament out of spring.
Yeah.
As a player, that's the only time I won was in spring. And I mean, you hear it all the time of we go down and beat teams and there's like, how are you doing this? And it's just, it's a mindset. We're very prepared. We have an incredible facilities. Our facility at Fox Hollow is unbelievable. And, we go down to St. George, we're ready. We're ready to come out and fire away. And it's interesting when people are concerned and the girls on the team are going, it's not an issue. Like the weather's just not a thing. We're ready to go. So luckily we have, incredible, some boosters that have helped us raise some incredible facilities to offset the weather. And I mean, I've lived here my whole life. My dad lived here, I mean, you can win.
Yeah, you can win.
You can win. Yeah.
You've got 10 on the roster. Good balance from each class. 2 seniors, 3 juniors, 3 sophomores, 2 freshmen. Who of your upperclassmen have shown great leadership and competed well here during the fall and early here in 2025? Do you have I know MJ's just a sophomore, right? So
yeah, MJ's a sophomore. She's a stud.
She's been incredible, right?
Yeah, she went into a playoff in the Mexican Am early January. She's just golfing her ball. She's going to be she is incredible. She's going to be awesome.
Yeah. Is there somebody motivated in that junior senior class that you're just like, they've just been such a good leader?
Yeah. So Alexa Udom, our senior, has just stepped up. She's just so chill and just, everybody loves her. And, she's played great the last 2 weeks. Lily McCauley, our junior, she actually we bumped her up and, she was under par in Florida, had some good rounds in San Diego. So those two have been really sharp in winter that have stepped up. And so I'm excited. And Alexa, she plays well when she's 6. We thought she had the flu and shoots 2 under. And we're like, maybe you just need to play 6.
That's her Michael Jordan flu game. Her Michael Jordan flu game. Yeah.
But she stepped up, as a senior. Her first 2 events in the spring have been awesome. So It's fun to see those guys step up.
What makes MJ so special? Because we just mentioned she's just a sophomore. She's been your most consistently. She's been at the top of the leaderboard consistently through 7 tournaments. What makes her so special, and what does her future look like?
Ball striking, putting, mentality. It's almost like she can will putts in. You just watch her putt, and you're just like, how did you make that? And it's almost like she just like, I'm going to make this. And her ball striking, you give her anywhere from, like a 9-iron to a 5-iron. You just think she's going to make it. It's unbelievable what she can do with those clubs, and like a 5-iron, like I'm shaking with a 5-iron. She's like hitting it 3 feet with a 5-iron, so her ball striking with her irons are unbelievable. She obviously has an incredible work ethic, but her mentality, she can just lock in. I mean, her focus is incredible. Future's very, very bright. Like, I'm putting my money behind her.
You know, it's interesting, as me not being a golfer. I'm a putter.
Yeah.
I got to keep saying that.
He is a putter.
When you say,
that's what we've established.
Right. Yes, right. when you say will it in, like willpower, the first thing I thought of was, she's using the Holy Spirit, you know, to help guide it.
She's willing it in.
But also, like, what also stood out to me is a lot of, you know, what you said about her mental toughness, and you know, we all know that golf is a sport where, like, all nerves, right, are on you. Yeah. And I know that a lot of the guys on the football team this year have been, you know, transitioning to getting a little bit more of sports
psychology.
Yes, yeah. What's Coach Manning?
Craig Manning.
Craig Manning.
Yeah.
Craig Manning.
Yeah.
Is so my question, which is I'm fumbling right now, but
that's why he played on defense, because he fumbled, Carrie.
That's funny. That's really funny.
The question is are you, like, within your program, are you putting, you know, your team in sessions like that because of how mentally tough you have to be within the sport, or is that something that they're doing it on their own?
We've been all in on Craig Manning's system from the beginning. We worked with Craig and Maddie. Now we work with Haley. And Haley's awesome. Once a week, we meet with her as a team. Individually, I encourage them. I mean, quite highly encourage them to meet with her once a week as well. We don't miss a beat. I talk about it all of the time. I feel like it was one of my strengths. You know, and in golf, it's probably the most important thing you can work on, right? Along with your putting, chipping, and we work on it a lot. And I think Craig Manning's system is brilliant. I mean, anybody who buys in gets better. It's just what it is. And we work on it a ton. It's super, super important. And I mean, you win in your mind first. It just is. I mean, you hear it, but it's true for sure. So we work very hard on it.
I like that.
Win in your mind first.
We're so grateful to have women's golf coach Carrie Roberts here on the Wise Guys with us tonight, sponsored by Brady Plus and distributed by Deseret News. I want to follow up with that just a little bit as well. I talked to Bruce about this, our men's golf coach, a few weeks ago when he was here on the show, about the mental aspect of the game and be able to handle a putt. When I think about, I don't know which is more difficult, a putt on the 18th to win an individual title, or a putt on the 18th to win your team the title. So now everybody else is on your back as well. First of all, which is rougher? Which is more mentally taxing? A putt that means your team wins or loses, or a putt that means you take medalist honors or loses? That's the first part of this question. So I want you to answer that. And the second part is, do players just come with mental toughness where they can just go, it doesn't, like, I thrive when it's on the line. I want to make this putt, or do you have to teach them that? And if you have to teach them it, how do you teach them that? That's a lot. I just gave you a ton, Carrie. Go after all of it.
Did. How long is the show?
Yeah, as long as you want it to be.
Yeah, seriously. I think team for sure, because you got more people on your back. And, you know, I don't know. I think if it's for me, you know, it's not as important as if I can take my team to nationals. In fact, that happened. Leah Gardner was my player and made a putt on the final hole to send us to nationals. So maybe we should get her on maybe Zoom her in and ask her about it. But
did she just come with this mental toughness, or did you teach her that?
I think some do. And I do. I think some are kind of born with it, bred with it. And I think it is teachable. It's obviously easier for some than others. And, you know, it's how quickly you can learn, and it's just all the right things. I mean, you know, you got to be present, you got to can do, you know, control the controllables, as cliche as that are, those three things. If you were to own those three things and really learn, but I think number one is self-talk, how you talk to yourself. You know, either I want that last putt, or man, I hope I don't have that last putt. It's as simple as that, right? And if you're just constantly telling yourself, I hope I have that, I want that last shot, I want that last shot, I hope it comes down to me, you have to just keep telling yourself that, you know. And so we work hard on our self-talk, training that mindset, trying to put them in those positions to where you're feeling it, you know, because you never really know. But, you know, and like I said, some people just are kind of born with that toughness, and other people have to learn it, but it can be learned, and some people never learn it. And some people, I mean, look at Aberg this weekend. He was unbelievable, you know? and it looked like he just wanted to win that thing, and then you can kind of see it. So, it's kind of twofold. It comes easier for some, and others, it's just like, how did you do that? But self-talk is everything.
Quick follow-up on that. Do you think, just over your time, when it comes to just mental toughness, do you think that there's like a negative correlation between social media and how it is today versus, earlier in your career? And
I never had it. I didn't have a phone, like I didn't have social media, and it can be a positive and a negative. I see a lot of positive on my social media, like I'm constantly inspired by the people I follow. But yeah, it can have a negative. You can be negative for sure, if you make it, just like anything. But I think there's a lot of good on social media too. Like, I'm on there always being inspired and learning a lot of things. I learned about affirmations yesterday, and that came on social media. And so, it can be positive, but it can also, it can be negative.
I asked that because in 2010, I think when Facebook started getting really big, Bronco he made it a rule that you couldn't have a Facebook profile.
So as a player, you couldn't have one.
Yeah, you couldn't have one. So guys were like sneaking to have one.
It was too new back. Yeah. I know, and players just get hammered by people on social media who have like a fake name or don't even have a name or a handle, and then they hammer these kids. And I never like that. These kids have to be mentally tough for that too.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, be able to how to handle that as well. I was going to ask you about your recruiting class, because you announced in November that you're going to be adding Aiden Long. I know Aiden's family really well. She's going to join her sister Berlin on the team, which is kind of. Have you ever had I don't think you've ever had a sister duo before.
Well, no, not on the same team at the same time. I've coached sisters, but not at the same time. So that'll be fun.
That'll be cool. She's a 2-time Utah 6A state champ from Lone Peak, and then you had Naya Palmer from Sierra Vista High School down in Vegas. She finished second at the 2024 World Stars Junior Golf Championship in July. What will these two recruits bring to this program, and what's their long-term potential?
Some toughness and competitiveness, and Naya's winning everything down there.
Yeah.
And, there's some commits going to UNLV, and she's kind of a late bloomer. And at first we were kind of like, and then all of a sudden she just worked her butt off and started beating them. And I'm like, okay, Naya, let's go, and shot 66 right in our backyard. Talk about toughness. How do you email the BYU coach, say, hey, I'm going to be in Salt Lake, and I just shot 66. So
that's awesome.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is good.
And then Aiden, the state champ, I mean, if I'm on the team, I'm working my butt off to make sure they don't beat me.
Yeah, she could take somebody's spot real easily, right?
Yeah, real quickly.
So, no, Aiden's a great player. Yeah, that's great. That's when I was reading about that in November, I thought, man, Carrie's got a couple of great players coming in here.
Yeah, they can score, and both of them can go low. I love it. I think Aiden shot 63 last summer. They can go so low these days. It's unbelievable. I love it. So it's exciting.
That's fun stuff. I think Carrie, I may have told you, like I was out playing. Dan Forsman was coming back from being hurt, and we were out playing, and we just played around. Dave McCann and I were out playing with him. Yeah. And Dan shot 36 on the front. It was very pedestrian. Like just hit the fairway, hit it to 12 or 13 feet.
Boring golf.
Yeah, putted to 6 inches to 12 inches, and then just like tapped in. And I shot 37 on the front. And,
nice.
and I remember saying to myself, I don't remember how much I scrambled, but I'm sure I scrambled. But I remembered saying to myself at the turn, Dan's played on the tour forever. Now he's on the senior tour. Like, I'm not that far off. That's what I said to myself, Carrie. I'm not that far off.
Then what happened?
Then I shot 42 on the back, and Dan birdied 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16.
Oh,
he birdied 7 straight. I said, Dan, I think you're ready. You're healthy. Go back on the tour. Get out of my backyard. But he birdied the first 7 on the back 9. I'm like, what? Awesome. Why did I even say that to myself?
Yeah,
I'm not close. Funny? And the difference was, instead of hitting it to 12 feet, he was hitting the same drives down the fairway, but he dialed in his irons. And you talk about dialing irons, and everything was inside of 5 feet. Yeah. Everything was inside of 5 feet, and then he just was rolling them in. Yeah. And I just thought there is such a difference between somebody that's a great player and just Joe Guy.
So can you put that in a football score for me?
On the back 9, he beat me 150 to nothing.
Oh, okay, cool. I got it. I got you. I'm learning.
On the front 9, he got me 14-12.
Okay.
On the back 9, he basically beat me 150
to nothing.
Half,
you thought you had him in the first half.
Yeah.
Right? And he got you in the second half.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, the last thing we want to talk to you about, Carrie, before you give us your 5 favorite golf tips, because we're going to go through that. We got that all set up. Is your reaction to Tom Holmoe's retirement announcement? You've known Tom for a long time. this is the end of an era. Your thoughts on Tom and what this means to the program?
Shed a tear. I shed a tear. He's such a good man. And I love what Brian said. He cares. He cares. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I didn't know if I could approach him, and he spent hours with me, just talking to me, listening to me, and having my back. He had my back every single time that I talked to him. And he's just the most loving, caring, understanding man. He was so good for BYU. And I mean, I shed a tear. He's incredible. So I'm grateful that he gave me a chance and believed in me, and still does. He left an incredible legacy and did nothing but make us better.
Yeah, one of a kind. Yeah. So Tom was a teammate of mine, of course. And
okay.
Yeah, cool. Great player. And he was a senior when I was a freshman. And he was such a great leader back then.
Yeah. Okay.
You just knew what a great leader he was. And he's an incredible football player. People don't know how good he was as a player. He played in the NFL for a number of years. He played with no ACL for 2 years in the NFL.
Oh, that's crazy.
Oh, wow.
I didn't know that.
On a world championship football team.
Yeah.
Wow.
So he was a special player, but you could tell back in those days just the leadership that he had. And that's going to be very much missed, because it's such a great leader. And I think he wins people over with the fact that everybody just knows that he loves them. Mm-hmm. Right. And so that makes a difference. Then they want to follow him.
Yeah.
And he doesn't lead people in the wrong direction. So we were, and I don't want to put you in a spot here, but it's like we were saying, everything's so different these days in college sports. Does the AD need to have like a business background and understand? It seems like it's a completely different job than the one that Tom's had for the last 20 years.
And there's different challenges that pop up, but that's what made Tom great. He put good people around him. You know what I mean? And he got opinions and made good decisions that were best for BYU, and that's, you've got to have someone that can handle the unknowns. There's going to be constantly things thrown at you, and but they'll find the right guy for sure, or woman.
Yep. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. We mentioned Liz has been there in the program for a while, and we don't know if it's going to be somebody like Brian Santiago or Chad Lewis or Liz or anybody else inside, or if they do a national search. And there are a lot of LDS people high up in athletic administrations at major universities around the country that I was not even aware of until I just was reading an article the other day. I'm like, oh wow, I didn't know that guy was. I didn't, like, all over the country. Which is interesting.
Uncle B, you guys are everywhere.
Well, Bilo always says he's the double minority, Carrie. He says, I came to school. I'm African American. I'm not a member of the predominant faith. But and he says, so I'm a double minority, and he still tells kids, he says it's the best place in the world for people to go if they're double minority. Absolutely. Right, Bilo?
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah. I love it. And that's what I was going to say. You're still here. Yep. You came back, you're still here. It says a lot.
No, I wouldn't say, I didn't go back home to Cali. I'm never going back home. I'm not.
Wait, this is home.
This is home. Yeah. I'm not. I get just thinking about going back home.
Yeah. Gavin and I went to
a special place.
It
right?
is. It's absolutely. And my family's here now. My grandma, my mom, my brothers. Like, that's how nice it is that they fell in love just like I did.
Yeah. So with the culture and all of that.
Yeah.
Gavin, my youngest son, the one that coaches the defensive backs for BYU right now, and I went to church with Brian at his church down by what is it called again?
Center Point Church.
Yeah, Center Point Church with Bilo. Yeah. And they treated us with amazing kindness, and it was fun.
And everybody knew him, like literally everybody. I was like, what the heck? How does everybody? He was like, I knew he was a celebrity, but
if you stick around long enough, if you do something like this long enough, then you just wear people out, and they don't have any choice. That's it. That's fun. Well, Carrie, we've got 5 questions for you. 5 questions is presented by Strategy Square. You can find out more at strategysquare.co. Chantel's been helping folks with their social media marketing, with all of that. She's a phenomenal talent. She's BYU grad, and she helped us from the very beginning with Wise Guys get this thing off the ground to where we had 6 million impressions last year with Wise Guys, which is crazy.
That's crazy. Yeah.
Wow.
Crazy. Yeah, it's the largest BYU related podcast in the world, and all over. In the chat, people are from 6 continents. It's so fun, and she helped us get that going. So if you have questions, get with Chantel. She's BYU through and through. Strategy Square. Okay, Carrie, this is your 5 favorite golf tips, and there are 5 categories that we've given. You're going to give your favorite tip for each of these different categories. And Brian, you can take her through it 1 through 5.
Okay. Should we start with 5 and
let's start with 5. Yeah.
Okay. Number 5, golfing in the wind.
Hit it low.
So that sounds easy, but it's not that easy. How do you just hit it low in the wind? Do you go down a club and choke up, or what do you do?
I choked down about 1/2 an inch, put it back, and shortened my swing. So one of my better players, she was unbelievable in the wind. She could just fly it low, and she never really had to change clubs. It was unbelievable.
That's awesome. So you play it further back in your stance, so the club face is closed a little bit.
Yeah. And just a little bit back. Yeah, just a little bit back, and I kind of get on top of it, go left a little bit, and shorten my swing, back and through, and just flight it low right through the wind. Just bores right through the wind.
Love it.
Nice. All right, number 4, driving.
Get a lesson. No, go see a pro.
Because Brian's a putter. We know he putts, but
I put the ball forward. I keep my head behind the ball, and you got to make sure you rotate. Like, I don't think people rotate enough. You got to rotate and just smash that in the center of the face. So.
With your setup, do you start with the ball about on your left heel?
I do. I go ball left heel, and then I kind of set up my left ear kind of on the right side of the ball, and I keep it there. And I'm really kind of steady. I want to just turn around my spine and just kind of, try to turn so I can square that face. And I like a cut. I hit a fade. Left
you hit a little
right,
fade.
So,
John Geertson always used to say to me, you remember John, right?
Yeah.
John he would teach me once in a while, and I'd go over and play with him when he was over at Poppy Hills. Great former BYU golfer that was the director of the golf school at Pebble Beach. He always used to say, Blaine, quit looking to where the ball's going. I want you to see where the ball was after you hit a drive. I do not want you to see where it's going to go.
Yeah.
You have to focus on where it is right now and where it was after you hit it. Yeah. It changed my driving. Sometimes something hits with you in your mind.
Yeah.
And that got me to keep my head behind the ball and quit turning and opening up and dropping my right shoulder. And that was John's little swing tip changed my ability to drive the golf ball.
That's cool. Yeah, I just look at the back of that ball and try to just smash it. Almost see a dimple,
Yeah, focus.
On the back and just smash it, yeah.
Number 3, getting out of bunker.
Hit the sand. Don't try to hit the ball. Hit the sand where you want the ball to go. So that sounds simple and easy, and everyone in the bunker's going, no, that doesn't work for me. No, but bunker's tricky. I put the ball a little forward, and then I move left and I stay there. You almost want your lower body to feel like you're in cement. And then you just got to hit the sand. You splash the sand where you want the ball to go. And don't be afraid to hit it hard. Like, swing big.
That's hard. I think people feel like they hit it hard, but then they kind of short arm it and then they blade it out of there. Yeah.
Splash that sand. Hit the sand hard. Like, hit the sand. And honestly, if you don't move your body and just move your arms, you'd be surprised at how good you are. Like, try that. It's a drill.
Don't move your body. This is an arm swing. How far behind the ball in the sand should be my aiming point?
Half an inch.
Half an inch behind the ball. Hit the sand to where I want it to go.
Not the ball.
Yeah, hit the sand where you want the ball to go.
I'm going to think about that.
Okay, number 2, chipping.
Whew. Putt when you can putt.
Yeah, because a bad putt is better than a lot of my good chips, I'll tell you, right?
If you can putt it. It's funny because, Brian Santiago, he's my AD. We play a lot of golf together. And he'll chip right hand only.
Really?
And it actually works really good. It's a cool little drill you can do. Take your right hand and chip right hand only. You'll get a really good feel for how that motion. But don't be, once again, I taught my son, I said, hit the back of the club on the ground right behind the ball. And he's just hitting these beautiful, just little high shots, so he's not afraid to hit the ground with the back of the club. The back of the club, just hit the ground right behind the ball, and you'd be surprised. But try right hand only. You'll be shocked.
Right, I'm gonna try that. Try it.
Okay, last one, number 1, putting.
Yeah, focus on speed. Focus on your speed more than anything. I think people get real. And that's probably the number one thing I see is just people don't have good speed. Practice a little bit of speed. Hit it long, hit it short, hit it in the hole. Really focus on your line and speed. I mean, I love to read greens, and I think people need to learn how to read greens. Learn how to, like, a straight putt needs to look straight to you. If it doesn't, then we got some issues, But I think people, if they just practice their speed a little bit on their putts, they'd be a lot better.
Why do I see so many, like, even when I'm watching on the tour, And, I was always taught, hey, your feet need to be square to the line. And it's all over the place. People putt with their left foot open. They putt there's so many different setups to putt the golf ball. Why is there not a, hey, this is the standard set of rules, and if you do this, you're going to be a good putter?
Because we actually work with this 3D system gears. They put all the things on you. The reflectors, and they can test everything. And what they found is really the only thing that matters is that your face is square at impact. It doesn't matter if your path is good or your posture, your eyes are over it. This is according to their 3D data. Literally, you just need a square face, right? And my dad, growing up on the senior tour, watching those putter. I mean, Asao Aoki, remember him? Like he just chop it, right?
Yeah.
So it's this funny thing that whatever setup feels good to you, that you can deliver a square face at the ball, and you can repeat it. It's going to work.
Yeah, your dad was a beautiful putter, right? He was very.
And he was open with a split grip.
Yep.
And he used this white. It looked like a bar of soap. And he putted so well with that thing.
Yeah, wow.
And he believed he could make everything. And what's funny about that is talking about that self-talk. There was a tournament where my dad came home and was super negative. I can't putt. And my mom took him aside and said, Bruce, I want you to promise me. I need you to promise me that you'll do something. He said, okay, sure, I'll do it for you. And she said, okay, at breakfast, lunch, and dinner, I want you to tell yourself, I can putt, I can putt, I can putt. And he looked at her and said, that's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. and she said, no, you promised me. So then she took it another step further and she printed it on paper. I can putt, I can putt, I can putt. She put it all over the house. So, we as kids thought we're like, we're the best putters in the world. Anyways, he went out that weekend, shot 19 under.
Oh my goodness.
In 3 rounds.
What in the world?
So, you know what I mean? That power of just believing that you can putt. Obviously, you have to have some skill, and he had some skills. But deliver that putter with a square face, believe you're going to make it, work on some speed, and you're going to be great.
Well, he had great skill, but sometimes the mental part can get in the way of the skill. Right?
Oh, so absolutely.
He had a beautiful stroke, but his mind's having him not follow through or finish short or but you got to just decide you can do it and let it roll. That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's a great story. I can putt. Right?
I can putt.
I'm going to make this. I'm going to make this. I'm going to make this.
Yeah. And he actually wanted to put it on tees. He called this tee designer and he said, hey, can you put I can putt 3 times on my tees? But that actually came back and it said the words I can putt 3 times. Instead of I can putt, I can putt, I can putt. And it was like complete opposite. No, we don't want to putt 3 times.
Oh, so it actually said 3 times.
It actually said I can putt 3
I never want to putt more than twice, and I typically would like at least 7 or 8 times to putt once, right?
Yes.
That's awesome.
Exactly.
That's a great story. But it's the self-fulfilling prophecy. Yeah. Like we've talked about the mental aspect of golf, but it applies in all sports. And that old saying, whether you think you can or you can't, you're right. You've got to. Yep. Will Farron had to go. Doesn't matter where you put it, K-pop. Left hash, right hash, going down the middle.
Yep.
That's right. And
I'm
gonna win this game.
Yep.
That's I can putt. There you go. I can putt. I can putt. I can putt. Now everyone's making putts.
Yep. Dallin Hall steps up and says, "I'm a great free throw shooter. I'm making the front end of this one-on-one." There's one thing we take from this podcast tonight is you gotta believe that you can do it, because even if you have the skill to do it, your mind can get in the way of you doing. You got to tell yourself, "I can putt, I can putt, I can putt," or whatever else it is.
Gotta believe. Yep, you gotta believe.
That's the message that Carrie is going to leave with us tonight, and that it's going to carry over to this team going down the road here and winning the next couple of tournaments.
That's right.
And taking some big momentum into the Big 12 tournament and into the NCAAs. So we wish you the very, very best of luck with the team, and we're so glad. Carrie's a good friend. I love Carrie. She's great. Yeah. She's always so good to me when we see each other out on the golf course. And and I love the great women she has on the team. They're a great group of folks that are on that golf team. We see them out on the course all the time, and they're wonderful. So
it's fun to run into you and Dave. So we'll have to go play soon, hopefully.
Let's do it.
Hopefully
it's got to warm up, and let's get out there and do it. So we love you, Carrie. We appreciate you, and we love what you're doing. Thanks for coming on.
Carrie.
Thank you. Have a good night.
You too.
Carrie Roberts, great women's golf. She's so fun.
That story is
hilarious. I love that. I can putt. I can putt. I can putt, and that's what it takes.
Thank you for watching The Wise Guy.
If you like what you're watching, you can help us out by subscribing and hitting that notification button.